Now, moving on to your Cursor AI interface after you've installed it, when you open it, this is the screen you'll see. So, this is similar to what your VS Code looks like. So, I'll just go ahead and open a project. Okay, so this is your code window where you'll be able to write code. And then this is your chat window where you'll be able to chat. Alright, so as you can see, for better context awareness, you can also provide the files and folders you're using. And if you have any questions about the functionality you're trying to add, you can just give that context to it, and your AI will help assist you with that. Alright, so here is your chat window. So, the first feature of Cursor AI that we're going to explore here is the chat, right? So here, I've copy-pasted the prompt where I'm trying to create a real-time chat application. So, I'm providing the context here. Create a real-time chat application where users can communicate instantly with each other. So this is my context here. I'm trying to create a real-time application, a chat application. I'm also trying to give more information, like I need a front end and I need a back end. So I'm also specifying what capabilities the front end should have and what the back end should be able to do. For example, here I'm mentioning that the back end needs to manage the servers and handle messages. And then for the front end, you need to enable user interaction through your front end app. I'm also specifying the programming language to use here. For the backend, use Node.js since it's a great framework for handling real-time communication. And I'm also planning to use Express, which is a popular framework within Node.js as well, and it will help you build your web servers. Since I'm trying to create a chat application where I want to communicate instantly with another person who's online, just like you could say a WhatsApp app, I'm just giving you a scenario. So that's what I'm trying to build here. And that covers the backend part. Here, I'm saying that for my backend, you should use Node.js as well as Express. Now, I want the frontend to be built using React. And you know that React is a powerful library for creating interactive user interfaces. So, what do I need on my frontend? Design a simple chat interface where users can type and send messages. When one user sends a message, it will immediately show up for everyone in the chat room without needing to refresh the page. This is the functionality I'm trying to create. That's a real-time chat application. So I'm giving a prompt to my Cursor AI code editor that I want this to be created. In addition to creating the chat system, it also needs to handle user authentication. This is a very important aspect. User authentication is very important. So I'm saying that you should add this feature too, that I need to have user authentication. And what is this user authentication doing here? It means it will allow users to log in or sign up before using the chat. And I've also specified that the app needs to be responsive. That means it will work well on both desktops and mobile devices. So here you can see that it has asks and it has auto. Here, when I just click to disable my auto select, you can see the different AI features here. Like I have my Claude 3.5, Sonnet 3.5, Sonnet Max, and the different AI tools are there. So I'll just go with Claude Sonnet Max, and I'll try to ask it to generate this. So what it's saying exactly is that our servers are currently overloaded for non-pro users, and you can't use it. Okay, fine, we'll just use Claude Sonnet. 3.7 Claude Sonnet, not the max version. So you can see that it's generating. So as you can see here, it gave me a number of lines of code. It created so many files. But then in the end, it gave me that model provider and /mic ended response early. And as I scroll up, I see that the code or the project is incomplete. I can see the CSS file, And then I have my chat.js files as well for creating the components. And I have different CSS files and JS files for registration, login, authentication, context, and all that. But still, this is incomplete. So we'll just scroll up and see exactly how it generated and what it's trying to say. So it said that it would create a real-time chat application with user authentication using Node.js and Express and Socket for the backend. So these were the prerequisites I gave, that I need my backend with these three. And I also said that I need my frontend built with React. So let's start by setting up the project structure. Okay, but since it didn't give me the full code, I can just write, "Hey, the code was incomplete. Could you please generate it again from the beginning?" So let me see if it's generating now. So again, it has started generating. So here you can see that it says, "I will create a complete real-time chat application with user authentication." Let's break this down into your backend and frontend components. So as I said, the backend setup will be done with Node.js, Express, and Socket. So here you can see that it created a complete project structure for me. Starting from your package.json file, your server.js, and you can see a number of files have been created, as well as a number of lines of code. Now, if you want to integrate it into your app here, okay, you can just do it as apply to user.js. Okay, it will help you apply that. I'm not doing it because I want everything provided by Cursor AI to be applied all at once. So what happened? It gave me auth.js, and you can see it has message.js, and then it also has the setup. And then it started with my frontend, where I said the frontend needs to be created with React. And similarly, it provided a project structure for my frontend app. And then it gave me index.js, the CSS files, and the JavaScript files needed for my front-end application. And then app CSS was also created, along with the routing that needs to happen. It even created that, and then, as I said, user authentication is required. So it gave me the login JavaScript file as well, where we're trying to authenticate the user using the username and password too. Okay. And then register.js. Once the user is authenticated, we want them to use the chat application. And then, just moving forward, this is the front-end part, and auth.css was created, and chat.js was created. So basically, the different files and functionalities needed for this real-time chat application to be developed. It did all of that, right? So here you can see that the code generation had abruptly stopped. So I just gave a prompt saying, "Please complete the code generation." So it started again with your chat.css, and then followed by the requirements for your frontend, which is your index.html. And now here you can see that it's also giving me instructions on how to set up the project. So for the backend setup, create a folder for your project, and inside it, create a backend folder. Copy all the backend files into it, install the dependencies, and it's giving me the command to install the dependencies and start the server. And then for the front end, it says in the main project folder, create a front-end folder, copy all the files, install the dependencies, and start the React app using the command npm start, and then the database setup. Install MongoDB if you haven't already, then do this. Okay, what features does the chat application have? It has user authentication, where you'll be able to register using your username, email, and password, and then log in with your email and password. And then authentication happens, And after that, real-time messaging, meaning instant message delivery using socket.io, multiple chat rooms, message history, and a responsive design for both mobile and desktop. And then user experience features like auto-scrolling to the latest messages, and it has its own unique features as well. This also completes the real-time application with user authentication, real messaging capabilities, and a responsive design for both desktop and mobile devices. So now let me give a prompt saying that I don't know how to run this or create a folder structure. So I'm going to act like a beginner who doesn't know anything. Okay, so help me create and run the application. So let me see what it gives me here. Okay, so I gave a prompt saying that I don't know how to run this. So it gave me a guide on how to create the project structure, right? And then it told me which directories I need to create and which files I need to add in my frontend and backend. And it also told me to create a package.json file and then do the same for your backend file. Like, you create a backend folder and set up those environments, create your frontend files, and a package.json file for your frontend as well. And then create all the frontend files and add the necessary details to them. And then it's saying, since we mentioned that it needs user authentication, it's telling me that I need to install MongoDB. And it's giving me the website on how to install MongoDB, and that I have to install some dependencies for my backend, so it's telling me how I can install my dependencies. Even the frontend needs to have some dependencies, so it's telling me to install those dependencies as well. And then it's also giving me suggestions. Like if any issues come up, you just need to troubleshoot them. And it's telling me the ways I can do that. And lastly, it says to let it know if I encounter any issues with the setup or have questions about how any part of my application works. Okay, so let me give it a prompt saying, could you create a project structure for me here in my, what is it, a real-time chat app in my folder, real-time chat app, and also add all the code to it and install dependencies if required, and give me a running out, so let's see what it gives. Since it was telling me how to create the folders myself, I just customized my prompt here to say that I want it to create them. So now it's creating. It's telling me that it will create a React application for Node.js and a React application with Node.js, Express, and socket.io for the backend and React for the front end. So now it's telling me, let's start by creating a project structure. I'll set up the basic folder structure for your chat app with both backend and frontend, so it's showing me how to create a folder. First, I need to create two folders, frontend and backend. So I'm clicking on Run. Okay, so now it created two folders for me, frontend and backend. Now it's giving me a step-by-step process. Now let's set up the backend. First, I'll initialize a Node.js project in your backend directory. So it's giving me the command, so I'm just clicking on Yes. Go ahead with creating that backend. And then, as you can see here, it's giving me some kind of error saying to check the spelling of the name or if the path was included correctly and try again. So let me just ask, what is this +Q? Okay. What is the error I am getting? So it's telling me that the error you're seeing is related to PowerShell syntax. That operator, which is commonly used for bash/sh. So basically, it's explaining what error I'm having. Would you like me to continue setting up the chat application using the correct syntax? Yes, there's a bit of a syntax error because of your PowerShell, right? So I say yes, please create it, even though it had that error. I'm ignoring this for now because it's just a syntax error and doesn't affect running the application. So it says that it seems the backend directory wasn't created successfully. Let's create it. So it's telling me to create it again. Okay, I'm going to create that again. And now I'm creating the frontend directory. Now it says, let's set up the backend properly by initializing a Node.js project and installing the necessary dependencies. Now it says, let's install the necessary dependencies for your backend. As I said, I need Express and Socket, so it's giving me a command. I don't need to figure out the commands. My cursor is giving me the command as well. Right now, it's giving it to me. Let's also install NodeMon as a dep dependency to automatically restart the server when we make changes. Since I said I need a real-time interaction app, where two users are communicating with each other at the same time. So we need NodeMon. So I'm running the command it gave me. So it says that, as I mentioned, it has its own debugging capability. It's telling me that. I see there's an issue with the path. So let's fix the command. Yes, please fix the command. Okay, that's done. And now it says, let's create a backend server file. First, let's navigate back to the root directory. Yes, we have to go back to our root directory, which is your backend directory, since we're starting with our backend server files. So now it's creating a backend file for me, which is your server.js. So let me just let it finish. Then I'll accept everything. All right. So you can see on my code editor, on the right-hand side where the developer writes code, you can see my server.js file has been created. And then what is it saying? Cannot edit files blocked by global ignore. Now it says, let's set up the React frontend. Yeah, we're going to create that. So I'm installing Socket.io for my frontend as well. Now it says, let's navigate back to the root directory and then create the necessary components for our React frontend. Create a React component for our chat application. First, let's create the chat room components. We're creating the components now. So here it created my chat components, the message list component. It created the message input components, and it also added some styling for my chat room. It also created a CSS file for my message input component and updated my main app.js file so that the chat components can be incorporated with it. And it also did a bit of base styling using my app CSS file. So finally, let's create a README file. So it's also giving me a README file, which will help me with instructions on how to run the application as well. And then it says that you have now successfully created the app, Node.js with Express for the server, and Socket.io for real-time communication on the front end. And it's also telling me how to start my backend server and then how to start my front-end server. And then a user can join chats by entering their name and a room name. Then they can start sending messages in real time. This application supports multiple rooms, so different groups can chat privately. So I'm accepting everything. So I just followed the commands it gave me right in my terminal. I went back to my root folder for my backend, dated cd backend, and then I ran the command npm run dev. Similarly, I did the same thing for my frontend. Went to my frontend folder, and now I'm typing npm start. There's some error. I'm just trying to fix it, telling my AI to only fix the error. So it says, let's fix the missing script start error. This error typically means that the package.json file does not have a start script defined. So let's check and modify the front-end package.json file. So it's checking, and now there is no package. It says that it figured out there is no package.json file, so it seems that the create React app command might not have completed successfully. So it's creating that for me. And now it's asking me to run this command because my package.json needs to be in my public folder. So based on the changes it had to make, it gave me the different files required for my frontend. Now it says we need to install the necessary dependencies for my frontend. So I'm doing the same thing here. I'm just installing the dependencies. So basically, we're repeating the process of how the frontend was created because the package.json file wasn't created properly. So now it says, great, the application should now be running with both the backend and frontend. To summarize what we did, the fixes, there were a lot of fixes we made. So we created a proper package.json, that's what it is. That was the main problem. It needed a package.json file for your frontend directory. So they tried to fix that and added the necessary public directories and recreated your index.html, index.js, and index.css files, which were also enhanced or recreated based on the package.json files. And then we started up both the backend and frontend servers. Now, you should be able to access the chat application by opening your browser and going to http://localhost:3000. You'll see a form where you can enter your name and a room name to join the chat. Okay. It says that if you're still having issues, make sure both the backend and front-end terminals show a successful startup message without any errors. So you can see that it has started successfully. So now this is what it's showing me. Okay, so 5000 is where my server starts. That's it. It says that the real-time chat server is running on 3000. This is my front end. So I'll just enter my name and set my chat room. Let's say the room name is AI. Okay, so I'm joining now. So now I'm in the AI room. Let me just open another chat room here. Here, I'll enter the name of Marnoth and I want to join the same chat room. So you can see that it's here. Since this is a real-time chat application, let me type, "Hi, Amar." So it should show up here. So as you can see, this is my real-time chat application. Here you can see that we've created a real-time chat application with the help of your Cursor AI. Even if you don't have the knowledge, you just need to give the right prompts, like saying, "I'm not understanding this," or "try to troubleshoot it," and so on. You'll be able to do it. For example, I have this file here and I don't know what React strict mode is, or exactly what we're doing in this file, right? So I can just copy and paste this and you can see that it changed the context to index.js, so I can give it to you. Let me know what this index.js file is doing. All right. I'm just asking about the functionality of my index.js. So I copied and pasted the file and asked, "Let me know what this index.js file is doing." So it's giving me a clear explanation that the index.js file is the main entry point for your React frontend. The first thing it's doing is importing dependencies. Like, you have your React library, your DOM-specific methods, and then your global CSS styles. Then it's creating a root directory, and this root will target your HTML elements and render the application with the help of your root render. So this file connects your React components to your HTML DOM, serving as a bridge between your React code and the browser's rendering engine. So, this is precisely how we've successfully created a simple real-time generation application with the invaluable help of Cursor AI, which inherently has artificial intelligence integrated directly into it.
If you enjoyed this video, you can enroll in Great Learning Academy for free. Choose from hundreds of courses across multiple domains and earn a certificate of completion along the way. And if you want to take it a step further, you can try Great Learning Academy Pro Plus with a free trial. It provides access to additional premium courses with more advanced content from distinguished faculty, along with features like guided projects, a resume builder, and mock interviews to make your learning journey even richer. Link is in the description.